Welcome back to AP in Session. I'm Anna Zanes. This is where we crack open the stories behind our covers and give you a look behind the curtain. Here's a band that's got humor, heart, and a hard exterior. The spotlight this week is on San Francisco's very own Spiritual Cramp, a group that's equal parts chaos and clarity. In my conversation with frontman Michael Bingham, you'll hear about his journey towards self-actualization, sobriety, and how the band's home city continues to shape everything they do. But off camera and off stage, you'll also hear the truth from Mike himself. Tough guys aren't always what they seem. I first met these guys backstage at Brooklyn Paramount last year. They were opening for Rise Against, and I'd spent the afternoon in LS Dune's green room interviewing those guys for their AP cover story. Rowdy, funny, energetic, but immediately open and honest, I connected with Mike instantly. Then I saw their set, and I was addicted. It reminded me of the punk rock I was raised on. The music that's brought me to where I am today. Sex Pistols, Sham 69, Stranglers, Clash. It's a sound that's few and far between in 2025. This shoot was a really fun one. On set, like true performers, the band would flip from goofing off to work mode on a dime. So as the day was wrapping and the last photo was shot, we were all getting into small talk mode. The photographer Daniel casually mentioned having recently seen his friend's band. Spiritual Cramp lit up. They love that band. Not moments later, Daniel was on the phone connecting them with Mike, who was offering them a slot on their spring tour, on the spot. Punk rock networking at its finest. LA is really a small world. So listen in, we talk street fights, ska, Machine Gun Kelly, and the messy, humorous, and very human side of punk rock music. This is AP in Session with Spiritual Cramp. Okay.
Questions? You got questions?
I have lots of pages.
Oh, boy.
I have questions. I have comments from your music videos, the YouTube comments printed out.
That's not good. I don't read those. Okay.
They're actually all really great.
Okay.
And they're funny, and a lot of them about a book called Manifest the Unseen by Luna Rivers, which is about spirituality.
Okay.
And like, I think bots are trying to infiltrate this cult.
The Spiritual Cramp ecosystem?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Like Spiritual Cramp social ecosystem?
A few months ago, I hit a wall. Nothing made sense. I bought Manifest the Unseen by Luna Rivers after seeing it here on YouTube. I had no expectations. Chapter by chapter, it broke something open in me.
Yeah, I relate to that. Yeah. That was on YouTube?
Yeah.
Well, that's... I guess that's neither positive nor negative.
Engagement.
I mean, look,
all press is good press.
A couple of months ago, I hit a wall too, and I had to do some searching as well. So I guess it's relatable. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can come back to some of the other ones.
Yeah.
But there's a quote that I read by you, and I wanted to do like a modern day check-in about how you feel about it now. I'm reflecting what's right in front of me. When we started Spiritual Cramp, what was in front of me was San Francisco. It was punching me in the face. I'm telling the story of 6 people who all go to bars, get drunk, and fight, and like skinhead music, and like the Sex Pistols, and used to like stealing and doing drugs. That's Spiritual Cramp's story.
Oh man, what a different story I am telling today. That's so funny. Yeah, that was a part of our story at the time when we started. That is how we started. And it was authentic at the time to what was right in front of us. That is not what is right in front of us anymore. That's so crazy to hear you say that. Yeah, that's not our story anymore, but it was when we started, and it was really fun. Really fun. That's what we were doing. We were just thinking around and being cool and being cool in San Francisco and partying and fighting and causing trouble. We were causing a lot of trouble. And yeah, what you have a date on that? Times at 2018 probably.
It was like 2018.
I'm gonna date that to 2018. Yeah, a lot has changed.
I was also doing a lot of that stuff in 2018.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were. Yeah, I mean, I don't do those things anymore, really.
So what came before that? What got you there? Doing that as a group of people making music, and then what's happened since?
So like what got us to that point and what has transpired since
what
that.
Was the prelogue and what's the epilogue to that story?
The prelogue to that story, I mean, it's pretty long. I think that was probably like within the first couple of years of the band. And, you know, I moved to San Francisco when I was, 23, and, you know, I kind of found my culture there. I moved there from a small town about 40 minutes north and moved to San Francisco. And I felt at the time, much like I feel today, kind of uncomfortable living in Los Angeles. And it was a lot easier back then to feel uncomfortable because at the time I knew what to do. And when I was uncomfortable in 2018, I could just go party. And it would take those feelings of feeling worried or fearful or insecure away. And I think that I found people at the time who were seeking the same thing. And we started this band. You know, a great therapist of mine once said, you attract where you're at. And at the time, that's where I was at. I was just looking to turn the light switch out and stumble around and have a good time and be perceived. And Spiritual Cramp was a great vessel for us to be perceived at the time. And it was also the starting point of me learning how to be a thoughtful artist, right? Spiritual Cramp was the first band I think that I really ever did that I was very, very intentional with. I think a lot of the bands I was in before that were bands that I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put it out in the world. It's valid. And, you know, I met this guy. His name was Stuart. He's still a very close friend of mine. And we started the band together with Mike, who is still in the band. Stuart is no longer in the band, but we're still very close. And he is someone who is a very thoughtful artist. And he showed me a lot about being intentional. And he would kind of like stop me and be like, hey, like when we're doing this band, like what is your intention here or here? And I was like, I never really thought about it. I kind of just thought that was cool and wanted to put it out. And I assume everyone will digest it. So yeah, that's kind of like what it was like when we started the band. I mean, the story to the point of starting the band is like, I mean, like how far back do you want to go? You know, it's long and it's like my whole life story.
Fair.
So.
I just think also I'm maybe more so like the San Francisco of it all. Like our last cover, like I spoke to Davey Havoc, who also, you know, East Bay. It was like all about the East Bay.
Yeah.
And like not only how like the sounds of the East Bay were part of what AFI did, but also like the community and the culture and the other people who were a part of that. And so like me personally, like I know what New York has done for me as a New Yorker.
Right.
Like I know how it's affected my attitude, my affect, my aesthetic, like everything I do. I don't like, I'm just curious to like understand how other people's like culture and community and like music scene has like impacted them.
Yeah, for sure. San Francisco at the time, it was very punk. And I mean, Maximum Rock and Roll is from San Francisco, and that has been something that is in the DNA of everything that me and my friends were doing, right? So there was always this emphasis on being punk rock and kind of laughing at other people who weren't. And all of our friends were in hardcore bands. I mean, Max, who was like another founding member of the band, lived at Maximum Rock and Roll when we started the band. So, you know, that was definitely a part of the sonic and visual language of the band. It was like punk rock, fuck you, come see about it in person. And we like that. And it made us feel good to kind of, I think stand on a high horse is like maybe a little, it's hyperbole, but it was like this thing that was supposed to be really elite. And it was at the time, but it also at the time in San Francisco, like all of the people and all these like skinheads and all these punk rockers, like it was kind of encouraged to be a knucklehead. And like, it's like, hey, like, let's go out and get in fights. It's still like that there. Like, they're like people who I'm very close with, you know, people in our band, you know, who still live there and like, who still hold that style down. And that style is a part of us. It's refined, you know, and it's kind of elite and boutique or whatever you want to call it. But it's also like, come say that to my face and like, you will get beat up, right, at the time. And, you know, that's what was influencing it, right? There was just all this hardcore punk and all these small venues like the Parkside where we played our first shows, and the Hemlock. It was these like 100-cap rooms, and you would go and you'd get super drunk and you'd play shows with all your friends, and it was really fun. Obviously, there were people, you know, who weren't drinking and doing drugs as well, but a lot of what we were focused on was that. So yeah, and I think that that influenced everything, right? That whole lifestyle. The lifestyle of San Francisco is you don't own a car, you walk out of your house, you take the bus everywhere. It's a late night town. It's much like New York. It's metropolitan, and that's what was happening, and that was influencing the fibers of the band's inception. And then what happened is I moved to LA in June of 2021. And I was like a fish out of water. And I was so uncomfortable because here it's not cool to hold yourself down, right? It's kind of cool here to go as high as you can go and make something as big as you can make it and turn it into a professional thing. And I think that it's no coincidence that a lot of the things in LA, things like that I'm describing, like these like big entities of art, and those pieces of art turning into kind of commerce, a lot of those people are sober. And it just so happened that I was struggling with drugs and alcohol at the time. What happened is in San Francisco, you know, the party was great and it continued, and I kind of made it a part of my personality. You know, I was this like real fun guy, but I would get up and go for a run. I still had a great job, and I was in this cool band that like would maybe play with you, right? Like that was like this narrative that I built for myself at the time. And then I moved here, and all these really cool people were sober, and I was here. The drinking had started to eat up the other parts of my life. You know, that ambition for music and the ambition for working hard and self-betterment. Like the part of my personality that I had designated to being a fun party guy got bigger and bigger and bigger as well as I physically was getting bigger and bigger as well. And here I very quickly identified that most of the people who had what I wanted in Los Angeles were sober. So it was really easy for me to look at that and be like, well, that's the next thing. So, you know, I moved here, I stopped drinking, doing drugs, stopped going out, partying. I stopped partying, mm-hmm. Still go out and do things, obviously. And then everything just started, you know, like I bring it back to that you attract where you're at thing. It's like, I just started taking steps to move in maybe, I don't know if the right direction is the right word, but I just knew I needed to go in a different direction.
Or like in a direction at all.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, at least in my own experience, when you're like caught up in all of that stuff, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah. I was spinning my wheels. Yeah. And I was wondering why what I was doing was not skyrocketing into the sun. And I was like, why am I not succeeding beyond my wildest dreams? But because it accidentally is happening to me. And at a certain point, my life was just getting so bad that I realized that I needed to take a shot at sobriety, mm-hmm. to see if that was maybe this thing that was going to fix me. And actually, it wasn't. What happens when you get sober, for anyone listening, is you get sober and you're left with all the things that you were initially running from.
Have you heard the like driving in the car analogy?
No.
Where you're like, It's like being on a road trip. You're like driving in a car, you're accumulating trash. You throw it in the back as you're driving on this trip. And then you get sober, you hit the brakes and all the trash comes forward.
Yeah. That's kind of what happened. But the cool thing about being sober is that for me is that what happened when all that trash came forward is I looked around at it and I said, oh, okay, well, what do I do here? And I'm good at asking for help. That is something I've always been good at. I've always been good at placing myself around people who have what I want and then asking them questions. My friend Stuart, who I started the band, kind of taught me that skill. And so I got therapy. I went into therapy and I started working on myself and I started taking care of that trash. And it took like 4 years. Like I've 3.5. I've been in LA 4 years now. And it is finally the kind of thing where I like got up today and I was like, this is beautiful. I like this. I spent 4 years being like, I hate it here. And it's like, I don't hate it here. I'm just uncomfortable and afraid. And it makes me feel small. LA makes me feel small. And being able to admit that and talk about it is a lot harder than being like, this place fucking sucks. Because it's really easy to say that about places. And, you know, it's like, I actually just don't like it. It's like, no, you don't like it. You're just uncomfortable. And I like feeling like the big man in the room. And here, you got to take a number. But that's humbling. So what happened was, as I moved here, that started happening. And slowly, as the work with like myself progressed, the band kind of naturally started growing. Like we got on a label that started helping us, and we got a great booking agent who is very smart. And we started working with a manager who really believed in me, and me and that manager started working together, and shocking, it all started growing. Right. And as it started growing, you know, those pieces started falling into place. And as I continued to do more work on myself and, you know, refuse to just, because a lot of what this record is about is running back home. That is the safest thing in the world to me. It's just going back home. I'll go back to Frisco. Fuck all you people in this fake town with my real homies. Because, you know, I got real homies back there who love me. Yeah. And it takes work to build a community of people who love you in a city that you're not from.
It's like the only thing that'll make it work, though. Like that, having a community. Yeah. Like building that community. Patience. And it's hard to build a community in a city that is built on social currency, because you can meet people and in your gut, you're like, I don't think I'm supposed to be linked up with you. But what I do is I automatically look at myself when I meet people I don't align with. And I think, well, I'm just weird. I can't vibe with you because you are on a higher vibration than I am. That's my initial like takeaway from people who I don't connect with. And I'm realizing that like, maybe that's not it. Maybe I just need to find the right vibers. And in the past like couple of years, I really have. And the band has, you know, just continued to grow. And, you know, we had some members like leave because they didn't want to be in a full-time touring band, which makes sense. I mean, I don't think we ever even really knew that we were going to become what we are today. It was like, we just wanted to be cool and to be perceived and to make some art. And as things naturally grew, there kind of became this moment in the band where I was like, oh no, this is now like a full-time job and this is the business. And some of the members were like, hey, hold on, like that's I think I'm gonna get off here. And you know, I get it. I understood at the time, and you know, I'm still really good friends with those people. But I support them and love them, and but I was called to keep moving forward, and that's kind of where we're at today, I think. Wow. I have so many questions and things to say about that, but there was so much. Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to come back to firstly, like we were just talking about it before this. It's kind of like the grass is always greener, like, and running home. It's Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because like you listen to the music and it's like brash and it's punk and it's got all these other genres mixed in and it's really fun and energetic and lively. And like many articles have talked about the humor and the self-deprecation and things like that. But it's like, it's actually pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And I like relate so heavily to all of it. You know, I've moved back and forth to New York and LA like maybe 4 times. And
Yeah.
But I'm also curious, like, it's a 2-part question about like what drew you to the lifestyle that you initially were a part of in San Francisco with the fighting and the partying and the maximum rock and roll of it all. And then also like how you navigate like being punk and also like self-actualizing and being sober. Like it seems dichotomous to that, but it really isn't. And so like I'm just like curious and like how you navigate that.
Yeah. The answer to that question, the answer to that question goes back really far. Cause like, I remember the first time I heard, like I really heard music and connected with it. That was like the first escape I ever had. Like the first time I was ever taken away.
What was it?
It was AFI, Black Sails in the Sunset. And it was just the first time. And then I heard Bad Religion. And you know, they were talking about these concepts and that to me, I was so angry. I had the worst home life and I was so convinced that everyone around me was wrong. I was like, I think all of you people are wrong. And then I heard this music and I saw these people and I thought there are other people out there who are embodying the way that I feel. And that was my first escape. And I became obsessed with that. And I got a guitar and I realized that when I started playing guitar, that was another escape. And so what happened is I you know, when you're a kid at home and you don't have much of a family or a support system, you have to find an identity somehow, right? You have to find a way to be able to say, this is who I am. And I found that in music. I said, I'm a punk. I'm a punk and I don't like the police and I don't like religion and the system is wrong, right? Those were like the first things that I felt. And then I saw them on paper and I thought, yeah. And so that was it. That is what took me to San Francisco. It took me all the way there from 13 to 23. I mean, it was like, I just remember this is it. This is my identity and this is going to be everything, right? And so you meet different groups of people in music and you learn different things from them, right? And you come into different spaces and you think like, oh, that's cool. You're like that. Like, okay, I guess I can be like that, right? And you kind of learn how to be like that. Mm-hmm. Positive or negative. And because you just want to keep that identity and you see that other people around you have an identity in that, right? And so, but that's like, the next part of it is like, is that an identity or is that just an interest? And are you just taking influence from people, right? Because that's kind of what it was, right? I went to San Francisco and you know, it was like, yeah, this is the identity. The identity is punk rock, fuck you. And that was awesome because that's what I needed at the time. I needed more to hold on to because I had nothing. And so that worked, you know, being a guy who was always going to be at the bar, but also like up at 7 a.m. running, like I said before, and in this cool band and like knows some people. Like that was my identity. And that was fine. And what happened is when I moved to LA and got sober, you kind of left like looking at yourself truly without any makeup in the mirror, without the ability to go out there. Like my identity was taken from me. I was no longer this like cool guy at the bar. I was just like Mike who had an issue with drinking. And so like when you get to that point, you're like, all right, well, like, what's my identity? And I'm like, all right, my identity is the band. So like, I'm going to try to do this band, right? And like I said, I've been working really hard on the band, but like at the same time, like that lack of an identity that I had as a child, like still translated to like, I mean, it's still a part of me, right? And like, this is something I talk to people about, and it's something I'm working on. It's like, who am I really? And sobriety is something that has forced me to discover who I am.
Oh, definitely. I relate to that too. I feel like, and also like the idea of like identity versus interest is super interesting, because I think I had a similar trajectory, which is like I had like a broken home, and like I found punk rock as well. It like wasn't even punk rock of my generation, but I became like completely obsessed. Like every school paper I wrote about like the Sex Pistols and skinhead culture. Yeah. And then it, it like transitioned into the same thing, which is like kind of developing characteristics of people that I found who were close to that. Mm-hmm. At least people who looked really tough.
Yeah.
I didn't feel tough. I aligned myself with them. It made me feel like I had thicker skin.
Yeah.
And like, since getting sober myself, and then I got sober, I felt totally like a newborn. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I cared about. I didn't know what I was interested in. I couldn't listen to music when I first got sober.
Yeah.
And then like as the years went by and I did more work on myself, I've actually come back around, and I think I'm more like my 4th grade self than I am like any other area of my life.
Yeah. I relate to that.
Yeah, like I'm like incorporating interests into my personality in a way that like is authentic to me in the moment, rather than like authentic to like others.
Yeah, totally. I mean, literally same. Like I found that another escape I found was perception. I love to be perceived. I love to be seen. And that was a part of my personality, the desire to be seen. And what you're talking about when you say that, you meet these people who kind of are adjacent to this thing that that piques your interest, and it elevates your ability to be seen. And I thought for a long time that like, if I can just increase my ability to be seen and perceived and continue to rely on these means of escapism, like music and, playing shows and being like well regarded, then that will complete me. And that is what my driver was for a long time. And then what happened is I got to a place, like specifically right now, like we are way further along in like my wildest dreams than I could have ever imagined. And so when that happened, I was like, oh shit, I still feel the same. Mm-hmm. And that means that it's like, okay, you're being perceived. You have all these wonderful means of escapism playing to thousands of people. And I still felt the same. And that's the moment where you're like, okay, well, like, who am I and what am I truly? Because if it's not just, if I'm not just a character and an entity on this earth that is perceived, and aside from perception, I'm escaping, there's nothing there. So like, okay, well, what are your interests? What, like, who are you as a person? It's like, fuck, I'm deeply empathetic. I like what you said. You said the songs are really heavy, but also funny and like cheeky. That is kind of who I am. Like I'm a really emotional person, and I like cry a lot, like I which, is neither here nor there, but like, that's not a part of the persona. The persona is like this funny, cheeky, like, like he's the man. It's like, bro, that's not like who you are. And so like discovering that, and I think that when you discover that and you start being like I would love to when you're like, what was that record? I would love to be like Discharge, but it wasn't Discharge. It was the Bouncing Souls. You know what I mean? And I did get into those things later on, but like my authentic self is just this little skate punk kid who got into Joy Division, later on. But I it's like, sometimes there are things that I like that I'm like, wow, this is like I love Machine Gun Kelly. I love him. And I don't care anymore. Like, it's like watching that guy, I'm like, man, you do not care what anyone thinks of your art.
You know
what I mean?
On the same page
like,
with you.
it is full mask off artistry where you're walking around with that guy is walking around with fangs on. And it's like, yo, you do not care. You're just trying to do what you think is cool. And like, I think that is so inspiring to me.
Yeah, that's a very evolved, like, I mean, it's like evolved in this context, in the context of being people in the music scene / industry, is like, that's something that I've also come to. Like, when I first started working in music, I was like so snooty.
Yeah.
And like trying to be so like competitively educated and like particular and judgmental of certain things. And like more and more, I've just become like I have so much respect for people that like I might not like their music or like they might not be wildly popular amongst the people that I want to be impressing.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm just like, I don't know. I think I kind of like, I also just like have all this like reverence for people who are just like doing their thing and people hate it. And I'm like,
that's like all like, I did this in service of like other people for a long time because I thought that it would help me. And I realized that didn't help. And so like a few months back, I kind of reached this impasse in my life where, we were in Europe and we were playing to like, 7,000 people at this festival. And I walked off stage and I felt deeply unhappy and sad. And I went back to therapy twice a week. I've been going to therapy twice a week for like 2 months. And what I realized is I was lacking meaning because the meaning that I was searching for, I found and it didn't fix it. And so I had to find new meaning. And the new meaning that I have recently found is that the only person I can do this in service of is myself. It's like, what does the 13-year-old version of me who is listening to Black Sails and Sunset think of the fact that I'm on the cover of Alternative Press?
Yeah.
And it's like, that to me, it's like, okay, well then I'm doing it for you, man.
Inner child work.
Yeah.
Advanced.
Yeah. Like doing this in service of the cool guys never served me. Doing it in service of like the people around me never served me. But the moment I start looking at the younger version of myself, I mean, like, just be authentic to what you always wanted.
Yeah.
There's this like freedom of being like, well, like, I don't care what this cool guy in a disclosed shirt thinks of me.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like you were trying to control the narrative.
I was.
And like play God in this whole situation of like, if I'm perceived this way, if I align with this thing.
Yeah.
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 I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great driver. It kept me it kept it pushing. And I needed a reason to keep pushing at the time. I don't think I was ready to, take the mask off and be my full self. And that's okay at the time.
Yeah.
But now that I am, and again, shocker, I'm seeing more success with it.
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck all of you. That's the real fuck you.
Well, there's the thing too, they talk about like emotional sobriety.
Yeah, I've heard the term.
Yeah. Where they talk about how like the things that will be your downfall are dependency and demand on people, places, situations to be a certain way or to make you feel a certain way or to help you. Even like therapy, like it's like you go to therapy and you can't go in with an expectation that you're going to leave fixed.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So it's like there's very few things that we can actually depend on and demand anything from.
Yeah. Like the only thing you can like depend on or demand things from is yourself. Mm-hmm. Like you can be like, all right, well, like, am I being true to myself? And that's like kind of a constant. I realize that I can rely on.
Actually, like, I mean, this is going to sound corny, but like, that's kind of like the most punk ethos you can adopt.
Yeah, totally. Like I'm just
like literally fuck everyone.
Yes, literally, which is why I bring up like Machine Gun Kelly, right?
Yeah,
like I'm sure like some of my friends just heard me say that and they're like, Mike, no. But it's like, man, that guy is like on some fuck everyone shit. And like, I that's what I want for myself. Like if I'm going to do this as like a job, dude, what am I going to hold myself down? Hold myself back? Am I going to make art in service of hoping that people perceive me a certain way that I sort of am not. Like that's like, I might as well just go back to the office.
Yeah.
You know?
So what are you interested in? Like outside of AFI? Like, I mean, and also just like outside of even the music sphere, like in doing all of this work on yourself, like what have you found you're interested in that may be coming into play in your music now? Or
what are my interests? My interests are The Sopranos this week. Very interested in The Sopranos. I go to the gym a lot. I do that a lot. I spend time with my family. I love spending time with my family and just hanging out and cooking dinner. My wife, my dog, and you know, her family, and my friends, and surfing. I love surfing. I love helping other bands. That's a big one for me. And just being a person that is around and available for my peers who I see are out there searching for what I have searched for. I don't think I ever had anyone with experience other than like Stuart was a great person for me, but like kind of stop what they were doing and be like, hey, you seem like you're searching for this. Like, let me help you.
the lost art.
Yeah, totally. Giving what you were so freely given is a lost art. And so like I try to apply that to music because I'm learning a lot right now and I'm meeting a lot of really great people. And I've kind of finally found myself where I believe that I'm supposed to be naturally and authentically. And as that happens, I want to make sure that I'm not just holding it all for myself and keeping it all in a cupboard. So I've been working really hard to share my experience with other bands and, you know, work with other bands and, you know, try to help give them my experience. That's been helpful.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody yesterday about like the idea of being of service to people and this fear that holds people back from it of like, I need to be like fully, like, not to use this word too many times, like self-actualized, like I need to be in the best place possible in order to help people, or like I need to be at the top to help people. I don't have enough to give people. But you know, like if you're already on the path, then like you have something more than
totally
a lot of people do.
Like I got some, I'm, you know what I'm able to do is look around at my life today and know that what I have is what someone is praying for. That my life is for sure. There are people who look at what I have right now and are like, man, I would give anything to have what he has. Because that's me from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I actively try to find those people and I actively try to stay connected with those people. And, you know, I just text them like, hey, how you doing? What are you working on? And then they'll tell me what they're working on. I'll say, hey, what if you did this? And, you know, sometimes they're like, that's not it. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Let me know how I can help. So like, yeah, but I totally, I think that for a long time, I was like, if I can just become famous, you know, then I'll be a monk, you know, and I'll sit at the top of this mountain and give everyone my wealth. And it's like, I don't know if that will ever happen, but what I can do is like reach out to the people who I was, you know, a couple of years ago and try to pass it on.
Okay, we should talk about your new album.
Sure.
Because I haven't even gotten to that yet.
Sorry, I'm jumping in real deep.
Like if we could just go through your entire life, I would.
Yeah.
Okay, so we sort of talked about the running back to home concept. And I know that you've also talked about this like side of the street cleaning.
Yeah.
Can you like explain that a little bit further, the like how that applies to like cleaning your side of the street and how that shows up in this album, and also how you came to that as a theme? Like, was it, you said everything is intentional? This is a long question.
Yeah.
You said everything is intentional. So I'm curious, like, do you go into the process knowing what you want to do, or does it kind of unfold?
No, it kind of unfolds. Where I'm at as a human being when I'm writing lyrics and creating motifs for our records, it's just an authentic representation of who I am and where I'm at. And so sometimes when I write songs, what I find myself doing is seeing, I learn a lot through other people's examples, right? Sometimes it's things I don't want to do. And sometimes it's things that I love. And a lot of times you see the way that other people are moving and you can jot down in your notebook, be like, okay, don't move this way.
Yeah.
You know? And I find that music is a really great outlet for that, to speak in a poetic and funny way about things you see other people doing, right? And because really all you, like I said, like you're mentioning, is like all you can do is look around you and be like, okay, like, am I doing the best that I can to maintain on a day-to-day level my standard for myself? And when you see, like, you can look at what someone else is doing and be like, okay, that's like, we're going to apply that person's experience to what we're doing. And so, like, some of the songs on the record, it's like I got to watch people do things, and it was very illuminating for me to what, you know, some of the songs are about like big musicians I've seen and who I used to really look up to, and who I saw publicly just tying their shoelaces together and then trying to go for a run. And watching that, it's like, it almost serves as like that notebook I'm talking about. It's like I can write those things down and be like, okay, like this is what that is. And it's like a reminder for myself. And, you know, the go back home thing, it's like, I wrote this record like 2 to 3 years into living in LA. And my default for safety is San Francisco. Mm-hmm. San Francisco is my safest place. I know that when I'm there, I'm all good. There's no ops in San Francisco. And if I do have ops in San Francisco, like they're not ones that like I, you know, that they're like, I look at them, I'm like, oh yeah, what's up, man? Nice to see you. And, you know, but it's pretty few and far between. And here in Los Angeles, you don't know what anyone thinks of you.
I know.
And there are some scary people here. This city, when I first moved here, my friend Sam Veldy, I don't know if you know Sam, but he said, he was like, man, LA chews people up and spits people out. And I remember being like, well, it's not going to do that to me. You know, I thought that to myself. And man, he wasn't kidding. It's a scary city. And I can see why you would move here and be like, dude, fuck this. I'm going back home. Mm-hmm. So like, you know, specifically the song Go Back Home, it's like, I say like, I don't want to go back home. Cause it's like this like thing that like, I know deep down why I want to go home. And it's cause I'm afraid. Mm-hmm. And like, I can't make that decision. I can't be like, well, I'm going to go home like where it's easy. It's like, that's not that's not what the younger version of myself wants. The younger version of myself is being like, yo, you're going home because you're afraid. You're afraid of these people. You're like, you don't know what they think of you. You care what they think of you. Mm. And so it's like, all right, well, I don't want to go home either. And, but it's like, you know, a lot of these songs were written in San Francisco too, where I was walking around. I went and stayed above, our friends have a venue called Kilowatt, and there's like this really beautiful band apartment up there, and they are so cool. And they always let me stay there in the apartment while I'm in San Francisco. And we did a bunch of writing sessions there. So I was like walking around the city, and it was really beautiful while I was writing these songs. And I was texting my wife, her name is Barb. I was like, babe, like, it is so beautiful here. Like, we have got to move back, you know, like, cause it's just like so easy for me. I walk into all the coffee shops there, and I know all the people, and they're like, he's back. You know, I'm like a big projector, and sorry, I know I'm kind of ranting, but
no, I love it.
Like, there's this old song I wrote, and it's called Northern Soul Search, and it's on television. Our first kind of compiled works, 12-inch, and the song, or no, it's not called television. It's called Northern Soul Search. And the song is, the lyrics are, I'm sick of hearing your name around. Mr. Celebrity's back in town. Sponsored shoes on your feet. Walking down in Mission Street. Mm. And it's about, because I spent so much time making fun of people who would leave San Francisco and then come back. Because that's like a thing that happens. People leave SF, they move to LA, and then they come back and they're like, yeah, what's up? It's me. I'm like on the cover of a magazine, right? And I remember it's so easy to take shots at people like that. And So like when I'm walking around the city when we're writing this record, I'm like, man, I don't like LA. This is my place, cause it's like my place. And, but at the same time, like, I don't know if I'm growing there. Maybe I'm just being the comfortable version of myself, but like, I don't know, when I go out and I work out all the time and I'm super uncomfortable and I'm like taking really good care of myself, it's kind of uncomfortable to diet and to work out. It hurts to do push-ups. But what happens is after 6 months of working out every day when you don't want to, people will be like, hey man, looking good. And you're like, oh, that's crazy. It's because I've been uncomfortable for 6 months. And like, again, not to bring it back, but like, what does the young version of myself want? He wants jacked. He wants to be jacked. He wants to go as high as you can go. And like, how do you do that? You do that by being uncomfortable. You don't do it by being safe. And as much as I know, as God is my witness, I will end up back in San Francisco where I belong. But right now, it's time for me to be uncomfortable and grow. And that means being in a place that's scary. And so yeah, that's like where the go back home thing comes from. And, Young Offenders, it's like, that's a song for all my friends. And this song called True Love is hard to find on the record. And it's just like, true love's hard for me to find, man. It's like, I have to really search for it. And I've spent 4 years searching for it in LA. And now I'm finally, like today, kind of finding a little love for it.
Because of the alternative.
Because I'm finally on a magazine cover and I'm going to be perceived at a level that will fulfill my ego.
Exactly.
Thank God. Thank you, God.
So you also, I know that there was like a shift in the way that you guys are writing as a band on this album. With an album that is like, I mean, your work is so personal. That's what all we've been talking about. Like, how is it working with other people on crafting these songs that are so personal to you? I mean, like, it sounds like we do have a lot in common. And for me, that would be extremely difficult. It's like, I just like, I mean, I also am like a very competitive and isolated person. But
I am as well. Yeah.
So like collaboration can be difficult at first.
Yeah. Again, in the spirit of growth, I am able to be the kind of person who can recognize what I'm now I say this with like a lot of humility, but like I can kind of be the kind of person who can assess what I'm doing and be like, shit, I need help. Like for that first record, it was a good record and it felt like it was received pretty well. It did good for where the band was at, but I know what I needed help with. I needed help with writing. And because I wrote all of the music with Mike, our bass player, me, and we did all of the guitars. Jacob, who was in the band at the time, recorded a lot of the guitars, but like it was with me sitting over him and then being like, play it this way. And Jake is just an angel. And he was always so, he would tolerate me too. Yeah. So, but at the time that was all I had, right? All I had was the ability to do everything completely myself. And I saw where that got me with the first record. And that was cool. And I thought, well, I'd like to grow more than this, right? Because we are taking this band very seriously. And I think we might need some better songs. And what had happened is at the time when we started writing the record, we had been like this incarnation of the band for like a good 2 years on the road. So Nate, Julian, Orville, and Jose, these guys had become like a part of, and they hear me every day and they interact with me. And I think what happened over that 2 years of touring on this record is they really got to know me really well. And there was a real trust that was created. And the flip side of that is I got to know them really well and I trust them. So, and I believe that they understood exactly what we needed to do. And they had bigger and better ideas for these, like, because our band has a sonic and a visual language, right?
Yeah, it's very specific.
Yeah, it's very specific.
And I would also love to hear you describe that in your own words.
Yeah.
Like, especially to, for example, somebody who hasn't heard it before.
Sure. Just to put a bookend on the visual thing with the guys, like these guys are really good at hearing what I'm saying, and we all have the same interests. And so like when it came time to start writing the record, I knew I needed help. And I knew I had these really, really smart and capable producers and guitar players and, you know, musicians who had spent 2 years ingraining themselves in what we were doing. So, and then, you know, we went and worked with John Congleton, who was a producer, and, you know, John spoke a lot of the same language as well. He was bringing up bands like the Stranglers when we worked together, or, you know, what is it? Big Audio Dynamite, right? He knew our references. So like between the guys and their beautiful ideas for what we were doing and John, I think that it was able to like kind of harmoniously come together. And, you know, there was some growing pains, obviously, but, and then, I mean, to describe the band, how would I describe the band? I mean, I think we're just like an indie rock band with like punk and skinhead influence. And dub influence. Because
in a lot of my research, I'm just like pulling out things that like people have said and that you've said, and like it's all kind of the same like dictionary, but like it like changes, it like shifts a little bit.
Yeah.
Each time.
Yeah. Some people hear the English beat. You know, it's funny to me. Sometimes people will be like, "Man, they're like a dub band," and it's like, "Man, you pulled that from what you're listening. You know, what you heard from our band." I mean. Yeah, I mean, people hear, that's the thing though, is like the fabric of our DNA, like those things are in there. Like the English Beat is a band who we use a lot of inspiration because, you know, there's like a lot of us on stage, and it's kind of like a ska band in a way because there's so many people on stage, but then you watch it live and people are like, no, they're hardcore adjacent because we're so ferocious live. And it's so
hardcore mod.
Yeah, it's like a hard mod. Is Zach Lipez, I think, came up with that. And yeah, it's like people hear different things. But you know, it's like those are the things that interest me. Like you know, jangle pop, mod music, C86 comps, like oi music and punk rock, and you know, and indie music, like the Arctic Monkeys. It's like these are all the things that kind of form what we're doing, and a heavy emphasis on looking cool.
Yeah, that's definitely, and well, that's where I can also see like there's like an Anglophile element to this, which like that, like when I first got into punk, and like I love your guys' music so much, and like the first time I heard it, it was like so satisfying to me because I hadn't heard like contemporary bands sound like that, and like that kind of music, like pieces of it are like what got me into punk music. Like,
me too. Yeah.
Like old school fucking punk, like English Invasion punk.
Yeah. Definitely.
And like I heard that, and there is like this nuance to it that you guys are doing that feels very modern, but like that was what was so exciting to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like there are not a lot of bands. I am aware that, you know, there are not a lot of bands who are doing kind of what we're doing right now. There are bands who have, but yeah, for sure. I mean, we're just trying to create what we think is cool and like what we want to see. Like Spiritual Cramp is truly like, I can put on our records and listen to it and be like, this is perfect music for Michael Bingham. And I think the rest of the band feels that way too, because we all share similar interests. And, you know, I think that a lot of people like yourself, you know, who like punk and who like, you know, a lot of the UK inspired stuff and dub and reggae and ska and, you know, 77 punk. It's like those are the things that but also like, I want to have them be these big pop songs because that's what I like. It's like, I love big pop music. And so it's like, how do we do all those things and make it sound like a big pop band, but also like, you know, when we walk into a room, we want people to know like, yo, we're some down punks. Like check out my fit. Is this cold? You know?
It's really hard. Like that's like, I feel like maybe one of the most impossible, because everybody has some sort of like fluid genre gunk that they identify with. Yeah. Like big pop and punk. Yeah. Are like, that's not an easy combination. And I do feel like you guys do it in a way that's like, you know, you're not making pop punk. No. You're making like punk.
Indie, punk, reggae, pop.
At a pop scale. Or like with a pop shininess or whatever it is. Question about the album too. So like another thing you said is like that spiritual cramp exists at the intersection of who you are and who you want to be. When you think about Rude, is that like overall, is it like more autobiographical or aspirational?
That Rude is autobiographical.
Mm-hmm.
I have almost lost the part of the band. Well, I guess I can't say that honestly, because like, you know, it goes back to that perception thing, right? And how I want to be perceived and how I want people to perceive me when I walk in a room, right? Like clothing and style is something that it's like I talk a lot about the visual identity. And like, I want to have, as a human being on earth, I want to have a visual identity when I walk in a room, so I can speak without speaking. And you can do that through style. And I just think that the way that we present ourselves is this way of saying like, this is how I want to be. Right? It's like, I want to be a mod. I want to be a punk rocker. I want to be a skinhead, right? I want to be an indie rocker. And so like, yeah, like, you know, we do put a lot of thoughtfulness into how we are perceived, because it's who we are and what we like and what we think is cool. So like, I guess you can't escape the intersection of who you are and who you want to be, but you can present it as authentically as possible.
Yeah, it's about being present, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
Who would you say like are your specifically like style influences? Like, who's on the mood board?
Who's on the mood board? Steve McQueen is on the mood board. We all have different mood boards.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's quite literally we're doing a jacket with like this company right now, and we all had to have different mood boards. And like the mood boards are like quite literally, if you look at the mood board, you can hear our band from it.
Who's on the large scale group?
Like Steve McQueen, like Timmy from the Nerve Agents, and Mick Jagger, and Jimmy Percy from Sham 69, and Terry from the Specials, and the singer, what's the singer of the Arctic Monkeys? Alex, oh my God, I like stalked him when I was in middle school. Yeah, singer of the Arctic Monkeys. And you know, it's like these people who you can tell, it's like these guys talked about style, and they talked about presentation, and like,
yeah, there's a style guide going on.
Yeah, like we love, like Spiritual Camp loves a style guide, which is like, you know, I think like some bands are like, whoa, I just am who I am. And it's like, well, yeah, so are we, but like we are all the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's super English.
Yeah, totally. And you know, like, you know, the Ramones, to speak some American stuff, and like Public Enemy, and you know, the Dead Kennedys, like those are more of like the American things, but a lot of it is very English. You know,
you guys also have some hip hop influence.
We do have a lot of hip hop influence.
Far Side reference.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like all the videos and stuff. A lot of the videos are hip hop inspired. I mean, that's where Jose comes in. I mean, that guy is like, I mean, he does work for huge hip hop artists. Jose is our designer as well.
Oh, okay.
And he helps me. We do kind of the art direction together, and like Jose is like ingrained in the rap world, like from a career perspective. Like
That's cool.
And he knows a lot about it, and so like, you know, he brings that to the table, and like we like it, you know, because we're down, man. I'm down. I like that gritty street shit, and that's like, well, you know, what we're down with.
So, and also like in terms of touring, like you guys have toured with some pretty iconic people in the spaces that you're adjacent to. I mean, like Iggy Pop.
Yep.
That's fucking crazy.
Yep.
You know, the Hives, Rise Against. Like you guys were on tour when I saw you with all those dudes in Dunes. And like, since this has been such a growth process for you, this entire thing, like what would you say that you've learned from your experiences touring with artists like that? You've been on like a specific.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I think that we put too much emphasis into planning things like our stage show or our outfits or like banter. Well, you know, because that's what you're talking about is the live space, right? And or how to move, right? And sometimes I'll be like, man, are we just like too thoughtful? Because, you know, a lot of people like to be nonchalant, right? It's cool to be nonchalant, but we're chalanting. Spiritual Cramp is a chalanting band. And then you meet the biggest ones, like the biggest, most successful ones, and they are not accidentally doing what they're doing. And so it is empowering to come across other artists who you have revered for years. We have looked up to some of these artists for so many years, and now we get to go on tour with them and see them every day and share buses with them. And you can really tell that like that thoughtfulness as an artist is the most important thing. And so that's like good to know when you go on tour with some of these people. You're like, oh, you like, this is all a piece of the art to you. And you can never stop getting better. And the flip side of that too is like, you know, you meet successful people and you meet people who kind of have carved a low ceiling for themselves in music, right? Because of like their actions, right? You meet someone and you're like, oh, you're just kind of a cool guy asshole, right? And but your band only draws like 600 people or whatever, you know, whatever. Who cares however many people your band draws? But like you meet these people and you think like, I don't vibe with you and you don't have what I want. And those are the people that again, I used to question and be like, oh, am I just not meant to be here? Am I not cool enough? But then what has happened is Spiritual Cramp has gotten access to some of the largest rock bands out there. And what you find is they are doing the same things we are, and they're super cool. Like they are not, none of these bands that you just mentioned, like any of them, Bad Nerves, all the huge acts that we have gotten to play with or that have shown us support, those are the ones. And even in people we work with, like business people, we work with some pretty successful people in business, and like all of them, they all hold the same thing. And it's that they're very humble and cool, and that they don't have this cool guy persona, this thing that like, you know, you're like, well, I gotta be this way. They're not like that. They're like, hey, what's up? Like, I love the last record. Like, thanks for coming on tour. Like, you guys are great. And you're like, oh, I thought I had to like be cool around you, and you don't. Like, it's just like there's like a humility to it, and that is another thing that I'm like, okay, cool. I need to be more humble, and I need to be kinder to people who can't help me, because like I can't help the Hives, like I can't help Pele Almquist, but like they're helping me by taking my band on tour, or Rise Against, or Iggy Pop, or any of these people. Like all they're doing is just throwing us a bone because they see something that they think might be a little cool. And so,
yeah, I mean, I think that there's definitely, at least from my direct knowledge, like there's some of those people that have been like influenced by you guys.
Like, what do you mean?
Like the guys in Dunes were like so stoked by your live show.
Well, I mean, that's different. That's performance, you know, and performance is like you go out there and you present that piece of the art, and like, you know, different bands have different strategies for that, right? Like you watch Turnover, right? Who is like a wildly successful band, and they're not all being like, hey, hey, like it's like this cool, chill vibe, but like it's authentic and it's true to who they are, and it translates, and it goes back and forth between the band and the crowd. And so like Dunes is just like that. Like Anthony is just a monster. He's just an insane front person. And Travis and Frank are screaming solos, and like, you know, but they're not like we are. They're different than we are. Yeah. But it's authentic, and it's humble and cool, and the performance is thoughtful. But yeah, I mean, for sure, to get to meet those guys, like those guys are all in like famous bands. I saw Coheed and Cambria posted, Travis was like in one of their stories the other day and like was wearing a Spiritual Cramp shirt.
Dunes are like, they like love you
We
guys.
love them.
I'm like
We
close
love
with them,
them.
and they like ride for spiritual Cramp.
Yeah, we ride for them too. It's so cool to get to like meet these people who you're like, I know of your work.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like, I mean, Frank's band just sold out like the biggest stadiums in the world. And like, so to get to meet him and then not only meet him, but figure out that he, as a successful artist, embodies the things that you think are like deep down cool, which is just being like kind to people. And that's like, you're like, dude, I'm on your team forever.
It's kind of like, the going back to what we were initially talking about with like finding meaning being like kind of the main thing that will like keep like give you like longevity in anything.
Yeah.
Like purpose, but like leading a value driven life in everything you do, even if it does relate to like fame and financial security and success and the public and social media. Like, you know, there's still ways to align with your values. And like, it's really noticeable when people do that.
You know, when I start working with artists, one of the first things I usually ask them is, I'm like, what do you want to be? Right? Do you want to be do you want to be a famous person? Right? Do you want celebrity? Or do you want because you have to define what it is that you want for yourself as an artist. It's like, do I want to be, Bono? Right? Is that what I'm here for? Am I here to just be the biggest celebrity of all time? Like, I'm not. I'm here to just like be in a certain space in a certain way. And that's like I think that's kind of a personal question. Is I don't, you know, like who I want to be as an artist. And but like, you know, it's like finding your goals as an artist and then moving towards them. And like doing that with like meaning. It's like, dude, I know how I can do these things authentically because I know where I want to go. And I can make decisions based off of that. It's like goal-based decision making, which is another thing I talk about a lot. It's like all of my decisions are based on goals. I'm not just like, that don't feel right. I'm like, no, like, does that serve the purpose of me being an artist who wants to exist in the space I want to exist in, right? Like, I don't want to be some famous Instagram loudmouth. Like I want to be kind of quiet. I want to be kind of like mysterious and like inaccessible because have no interest in being some, oh, what's up guys? It's me, Mike from Spiritual Cramp. It's like, that's not who I am. Like, so I think if you move that way, then it's easy
that's why I really value having these kinds of conversations with artists. Like, as much as a media company, we have to do a lot of those little like, name your top 5 pizza toppings. But like, you know, like I really think that listeners and readers like are valuing these more like in-depth conversations. It's like sounds so simple, but I really think that like we've drifted from that as like a consumer society. Yeah,
for sure. I think that, you know, like, you know, with like all the things that we're inundated with every day and, you know, our phones, it's quick 15 seconds of that. And it's like, what is that 15 seconds going to say? Is it going to be 15 seconds of me talking about anchovies on pizza? It's like, well,
is that your favorite topping?
No, I think I don't know what my favorite topping is, but my favorite pizza joint is Decades Pizza in New York City. But you know, it's like, what is that going to be? Is that going to be a meaningful moment, or is it going to be a moment of? And you know, maybe someone does find it interesting what pizza I eat, but I'd rather talk about servicing my inner child. Like and that's who I am, right? It's like the intersection of like pizza guy and.
It's case by case. I guess like, you know, Wade from Alexis on Fire. Like he's like a pizza guy. Like, I would love to talk to him about pizza.
Totally.
You're an inner child guy.
I'm like totally like, and I can like if we don't know each other, like I'm gonna make some jokes, and that's might be all you get from me. But like when we're trying to have an authentic conversation about like the creation of art and like navigation in the world, it's like all I can really do is talk about this kind of stuff. I don't know how to talk about pizza and like make jokes.
Okay, so I have 2 more questions. One of them is like, who are you excited about right now? Like, who are you listening to? Who are you excited about? Like, that's my first 2-part question.
Okay.
It's like, who are your go-tos that you're always listening to, still listening to? Who are you excited about right now?
Okay. I think that as far as artists who I'm excited about, there is a band from San Diego that I recently found out about called Intermission. Pretty cool. It's like a post-punk band. I think we are going to play some shows together coming up, maybe. And there's a band called Sour Widows, who I love, from Oakland. They make really beautiful kind of indie slowcore. I think I said this on a little clip that we did in New York, but Beton Armé is an incredible band, and they're just working so hard, and they're like the nicest people. Those guys are like the nicest people you will ever meet. What else? There's an artist called Meg from Orange County / Nashville that I heard her song the other day, and I really loved it. It's like this like badass like pop punk kind of thing, and they're doing some cool stuff. And I mean, there's so many amazing bands. There's a band from Montreal called Puffer that I think is really good. They kind of roll with Beton Armé people. There's a band called Whitney's Playground from San Francisco Bay Area. They're kind of more like jangle pop, mod rock that I think is really good. Public Opinion is a great band. I love Kevin. Love him, and love their new single with Pat from Drug Church. And I mean, there's so many artists out there who are so hungry and who are working so hard to create something that it's like, this is like my favorite moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I remember what it felt like to be like at that stage of my career, and like have someone be like, yo, what that person just talked about like one time Dallas from City and Color like talked about us on a podcast, and it was like right when we started, and I just remember being like, I have to remember that, and I have to remember that anytime I get the opportunity to speak about bands, I'm gonna do that. What else? I mean, Nate from Spiritual Cramp has a band called Slumped that is kind of going viral on Spotify right now, which is awesome.
That's cool.
And Jose has a project called The Props Department, which is more kind of like house music, kind of like Euro style, like club music. And he's an incredible producer. And I mean, I could just, what is that record? Dagger Polly? Have you heard? I think, is that what it's called? I think it's called Dagger Polly. This is this artist, a really great record. And then what are the mainstays?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Top three
main that I like always go back to in the like, I think like Block Party Silent Alarm is one that like I will always listen to that record, and
the best.
Yeah, that's a great record. Because I'm Here, I'm going to say AFI Sing the Sorrow. That was a record for me that because that was their major label debut. And I remember getting it. I was already a fan of the band, and I just remember I was in like 8th grade, and I just remember that record kind of changed the game for me. So AFI Sing the Sorrow, and I still listen to that record often. And what is that third mainstay record? AFI, we got Block Party. Who's like it's a toss up. I'm looking at Tim from Rancid over here, and I would say that third one is going to be a toss up between Rancid, Out Come the Wolves, and Hives, Veni Vidi Vicious. I think
all of those make so much sense.
Yeah,
listening to your music.
Yeah, for sure. It's like dramatic, but like funny. Like serious, but like not.
Yeah, that like Bay attitude.
Yeah, it's punk rock, like indie. Yeah, it's like who I am, man. It's like those are things I like.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. Apparently.
And then the last thing I wanted to touch on is the tour you're going on next year.
Yeah.
Presented by AP.
Yeah. Very excited. It's like, I think it's like our first full US headline tour. It went on sale like a couple of weeks ago, and it's doing good. I think it's going to be a really good tour. I mean, we're still working out who's going to be on the tour. I mean, we're really excited. We're playing the rooms we're playing feel like the appropriate rooms. I think that the whole tour will probably be very great.
Yeah. So do we.
Yeah. It's like if it keeps trending the way it's trending, like it'll probably all be sold out. You know, I would hate to say that on the podcast and then have it not be, but something tells me we're like right where we're supposed to be, and we're having some exciting conversations about bands that will be on the tour. Like we have done so much touring with other bands in their tours, right? Like they have picked our band to be a part of their tours because it's what they wanted to curate.
Mm-hmm.
So this tour for us is the first time in 400 to 700 cap rooms that we get to curate what we think is cool.
Yeah, that's so fun.
And it's so exciting to finally be like, all right, you know what? This is who we're going to bring.
Mm-hmm.
And this is who we are excited to show our fans, because so many awesome artists have done that for us. So like, this is the first time we get to do that. And so, we're being very thoughtful as, and the fact that AP it's an alternative press presents. That's like, it's amazing. And it's so fun. I think it's going to be a great tour. It's been a while since we've done a US tour. And hopefully people like the record.
People are going to love it.
I hope. I mean, all you can do is set the dinner table and be like, hey, this is like what I cooked.
Yeah, exactly.
So like I try to just practice impermanence from that, but yeah, it feels good. Looks good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah,
I'll sell out.
Yeah.
I'm going to close us out reading some of the YouTube comments.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome back, The Strokes. Like early Lil Wayne.
Yeah. Okay.
3 people said Mike's got moves.
Yeah. I can dance.
Daddy is back.
Daddy has, like, I don't know about that.
Mick Jagger at his peak, reborn, and that's a compliment for sure.
Yeah, that's a great compliment.
That is a compliment.
Yeah, it's a great compliment.
What is this style of dancing?
Yeah, I don't quite know. I don't quite know.
One of the best bands I've heard live for the very first time hearing them, Fucking Rockers, bummed me a cig.
Hell yeah. Sick.
There were so many like this too, especially people talking about the Rise Against tour. They were like, I saw these guys live a couple of days ago. Didn't know who they were. Holy shit, a force.
Yeah, I think the touring thing for us, like supporting other bands, really works because we're okay. We're an okay live band, So
I mean, you guys are amazing, and also your sound is like really addictive.
Well, that's what we love.
I actually remember the first time I saw you guys first time I heard of you guys was on Yassi's podcast.
Oh yeah,
no, it was or Yassi told me to listen to you guys, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Through Yassi.
Yeah.
And then I saw you guys on tour with White Reaper at Elsewhere.
Oh yeah, great show.
It was so good.
That was a good show. Yeah, I remember we played good that night. Yeah. Yeah,
your guys like split. One of your split songs was like in my Spotify rap top songs.
Oh yeah.
It was. I couldn't stop listening to it.
Yeah.
His voice has a David Byrne quality.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Iggy Pop sent me.
Oh yeah, Iggy Pop sent me. Love that. I love that.
There's a lot like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, so many of them were just like, this band is incredible. I can't stop listening after seeing them.
I love that. That's great. I try not to read the comments, man. I try not to read the comments.
Well, if you went in there, like, there's really no bad. I didn't see any bad comments.
Yeah, where you see the bad comments? Facebook. That's where people go crazy on Facebook.
Well, on my AFI interviews, I got some horrible comments on the interviews.
Oh, you did?
YouTube, there are some bad people. They're not on yours though, so you can rest easy.
Well, more to come. Yeah. More to be revealed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all good. I welcome.
Yeah. A wise man once said to me, no haters equals not popping. So
exactly.
Let's get those haters.
There you go. If people aren't like thinking about it and talking about it.
That's what I'm saying. Looking at Turnstile, it's like, yo, like, you just don't look at the comments, man. Just get to work and like have a good time creating the art and like being cool and like worry about your side of the street, Yeah. And it's like sit and look at the comments all day, but I got shit to do.
Yeah, but people are gonna love this. People are loving the new ones.
I think, all I can do is do what I'm doing and fuck off.
Yeah. Period. That was Mike Bingham of Spiritual Cramp, reminding us that punk is just as much about acceptance as it is about anarchy. From San Francisco basements to arena stages, from late-night bar fights to fighting one's own demons in therapy, Mike showed us that growth isn't about losing your edge or mellowing out. It's about doubling down on who you are. Plus, it's not often a casual shoot day turns into a tour invite. That's the spirit of community. Maybe that's the secret to keeping rock and roll alive in 2025. Thanks for listening to AP in Session. Be sure to check out the full cover story in Alternative Press and catch Spiritual Cramp when they hit your city. Their tour, presented by AP, begins in February. I'm Anna Zanes. Until next time.